Hermie, look here. He loves me with this. Tim back tomorrow. Well, we could do it upstairs.
We'll do it tomorrow.
Just a running, but Abby, you're gonna burn them up.
They go right for the lamp.
You're gonna have roast duck.
Well, just stay warm.
Yeah. Oh, they will.
Oh, you ain't. Wait, this one's in the crack. Hold on.
I've seen them in the crack.
Hold this light up. No. They're too little. They're too big. They're going for just 2 minutes.
I'm gonna go through that.
That has his head through it.
Did he get through there?
His head did.
Okay. All right. They'll huddle up and get together. He's already in the water, look.
They'll grow overnight.
Where'd you go? There you are. Alright, so right now it is 4:53 p.m. on, what is today, April 20th. But yeah, it really sucked because, like, my dog was starting to get kind of, like she's, Ranger was half collie, half sneaky neighbor dog, and she was 11 years old, and, so that's pretty old for collies, yeah, so, and she was getting really bad arthritis. Like, well, the thing about with animals is you can't really tell when they're getting really sick until they're really, really sick. So, I mean, I kind of knew she was bad off, but I didn't know how bad, and my grandparents apparently didn't either, because, you know, they left her with me when they went to go to the beach. And then my grandma mentioned that, you know, she thought Ranger wasn't feeling too good, but, you know, she's old, or she was old, and so, you know, you don't think too much about it. And so usually what would happen when I fed them, because we have 2 dogs now, we have Ranger and Gizmo, because we kept the dog from across the street that wandered over. I think I've explained that. I don't even know what I've told in these videos I've been filming. If I haven't and you have no idea who Gizmo is, just somebody put it in the comments. I'll make a video about it eventually. Yeah, everything for me is eventually. So what we had been doing earlier before I house sat was we would put Ranger's food in her lot, and then she would go in there and we'd close it, and then we'd feed Gizmo, and then, you know, we'd wait for Ranger to finish, and we'd let her out and close the gate again, because Gizmo would eat his food and Ranger's too before Ranger was halfway done, because Ranger ate slow. And Gizmo just inhaled everything. So, like, when I was there house sitting, I kind of, like, I put Ranger's food in the lot at first, and I called her over, and she wouldn't come. So, I just started bringing her food to her. And I would just sit out there a little bit and watch them eat. Sometimes I had to feed them both and just go, because I had my granny to watch. And so, I kind of noticed, you know, they both, like, they eat about half their food or whatever. And it looked like they were eating half their food or not at all. Because, you know, when you have 2 dogs or more than one animal, you don't always know who's eating what if you can't be there while they're eating. So, at first I thought, you know, well, maybe they just don't like this food. So I went out and I went to the store up here and I got, like, 3 different types of food. And I, you know, poured one in one bowl, one in the other bowl, set it down for them, see who ate what. And Gizmo was eating fine, and Ranger didn't eat the food because she didn't like the food. I gave Ranger another food. She ate that food for a bit. And so I'm like, okay, she just didn't like that food. And, you know, I'd feed him. And then throughout the week, you know, like Ranger wasn't eating that much. So, I mean, like food was going from their bowl, but I'm guessing that Gizmo was the one eating it. I just couldn't see because I couldn't, you know, you can't always stand there and watch animals. Sometimes you have things to do and whatever. or like in my case, I slept most of the time because I'm trying to get my sleep cycle normalized. I actually woke up at 7 today, so that's a plus. Mainly because I've been so sleep deprived lately that I just couldn't stay up like I normally do. But anyhow, so like the past, like, so my grandparents came back on Monday. They were originally going to come back on Sunday, but they decided Easter Sunday wouldn't be the best day to travel because everyone else would be traveling. So they just decided to stay an extra day. And, like, I knew Ranger was getting bad, but at the same time, I didn't want to tell them because I knew that, like, if I told them that, hey, the dog's doing really bad, they would try to rush down here, and I didn't want them to get into a wreck or something, speeding to get down here to just be with the dog. It's like, I want to tell them, but I can't because, I didn't want them to do anything. And plus, technically it's their dog. I don't have any say about, what they do. Like, I knew Ranger was kind of bad off, but I didn't know how bad, so I didn't think to call the vet, and plus I wanted to wait for their opinion, but she got, like, really bad, like, right before they got there, and it just happened so fast. I mean, well, she was 11, so it wasn't, like, fast, but, when dogs get sick and then they get really sick, it's, like, really fast. So, she wasn't feeling too good. Like, she was, the very last day, she was throwing up, like, anything, like, she would not eat anything. She drank a little bit of water. The very last day, she wouldn't drink anything. The day before the last day, I got her to eat some bologna, but then she threw it right back up. I'm like, okay, what is wrong with my dog? And this happened, it was like later in the afternoon, so there's nothing I could do anyway. And, I mean, yes, we have the emergency vet, but I cannot lift my dog weighs, I thought she weighed about 80-something pounds, and I can't lift that. But apparently when she sat down on the scale when we brought her in on Wednesday? Whatever the 18th was, when we brought it in on the 18th, she weighed like 97 pounds or so there was no way I would have been able to take her to the emergency vet. I don't have the physical strength to do that. And plus, what would we have done anyway? But anyhow, it turns out that they ran tests. Ranger had some kind of infection, and what else did she have? Some kind of like liver trouble and pneumonia. So, like, how do you tell a dog has pneumonia? Like, I didn't even know dogs could get pneumonia. And, and with her age, I mean, the vet said we could keep her comfortable for 2 weeks, but we did that with our last dog, and it ultimately wasn't worth it. We kept our last dog alive my gran did, because she couldn't let go. And we just did not see the point in letting Ranger suffer. So we let her go, and we had her cremated. And the vet still has to call us for us to go pick up her ashes. I'm still trying to adjust to it, because it's like out of nowhere, so. I'm gonna be okay, but it just feels weird to look out the window at my grandparents' house and not see a big, tubby, black, fluffy dog there, We now have a little less fluffy dog that doesn't behave very well, but yeah, it's just, and Gizmo actually stayed by Ranger, like, Gizmo knew something was wrong, and actually behaved. So, Gizmo, I'm not gonna go, I'll go into where he came from later, I think I have before, but anyhow, so, Gizmo usually doesn't let you pet him, so, he kind of goes between our house and my cousin's house. My grandparents' house is through the woods past my aunt and uncle's house, and then my grandparents' house. And then my cousin's house is kind of right beside. There's a bit of land, and then my cousin's house is right beside me. And so Gizmo goes between my house and their house. I guess he's both our dogs. They call him Buddy. We call him Gizmo. The poor dog's so confused. So my cousin's wife and I have both separately discovered that usually the only way you can pet Gizmo is to pull out it treat it like a milk bone or something. and like let him bite down onto it, and like while you're still holding it, you can pet him with your other hand. Otherwise, like if you try to just reach down and pet him, he'll flinch and run away. So like somebody beat that dog. But yeah. So if he has a treat in your hand, if you have a treat in your hand and he has onto the other end of it, you can sort of like gently pet his head, but that's about it, without him bolting. But on the day we had to go, we didn't know when we took Ranger to the vet, we didn't know we were going to have her put down. Like she just went to the vet and stayed there, and we had to come back and have her put down. Like it was just vet visit and euthanasia. But Gizmo actually let me give him a belly rub, which is weird. It's like he was acting, like he knew something was going on. He was acting different. Like he was actually behaving for once. I mean, the very next day, still couldn't pet him again, but actually managed to give the wild dog a belly rub, which is weird. And it was like just different things, like things if I know I'm gonna, like seeing two lizards and a crow and two butterflies flying together. Like that didn't mean anything to anyone else. It's like one of those things you have to experience. Like you have to experience. That kind of made sense to me that everything's gonna be okay. And so after we took Ranger to the vet, my grandparents had to go to the dentist. It was just the scheduling thing. Like they just went on ahead to the dentist because we couldn't do anything for Ranger. We left her with the vet. She was being taken care of. You know, they were giving her stuff to make her calm down, or make her feel better at least. And so we went on to the dentist. Well, they didn't. I just tagged along because I was already in the car. So while I was waiting on them, I was looking at the magazines, and one of them, I'm going to try to remember to put it here in the 11-minute mark. Here? Okay. So this magazine was Departures, and it had like pictures of a bunch of dogs on it. Like I want to say like it was a sign from the universe, but sign from the universe or odd coincidence, however you want to look at it. It was pretty odd or interesting, or I don't know what the word is, to see that magazine with the departure and the dogs on the same day we were going to have our dog put down. So, I'm pagan and all, but at the same time, and I still believe in God, just in a different way. Like, I don't know how to interpret that, if I should, if you think it's just a coincidence, that's perfectly fine, but it's a pretty strange coincidence of all the magazines in the world and all the pictures and all the words for it to be on a magazine on that day, it just, yeah. So that happened. But yeah, so, my pop couldn't he couldn't go in there with her, so my gran and I were with her when she was being put down with it, Our vet does the two-step process. They give them an anesthetic to help calm them down, to calm their, to make them not feel anything, and then they give them the shot, so they're calm, they don't know anything's gone, they just drift off, they just fall to sleep, and then they just, stay asleep. So it was fairly peaceful. I mean, her tongue, I hate to say TMI, but, her tongue was, sticking out the whole time. It was weird. I mean, it's kind of unsettling, but at the same time, it needed to be done. And we were wondering, if, I don't like to discuss, burial or what have you, or memorial type things before the person or being is deceased, because it just feels wrong to talk about someone or something as if it were dead before it's dead, even if you know it's gonna die soon. So it felt weird to discuss this, but on the way there, we were trying to figure out where we were going to put Ranger, because all of our other animals are buried. And I know you've seen that big satellite in some of my videos. 2 of our cats are buried there. Boots and Scoot are buried there. And then Lady, Ranger's mother, is buried sort of past where the swimming pool is, by an old carport. Unfortunately, the area is kind of overgrown now because we just never use it. And the plants just grew really fast, but she's buried back there. And according to my mom, I think Kingo, one of their dogs they had before I was born, is buried back there too. I think Lucky, a collie, and Daisy, a yellow Persian we had, they were like buddies. I think they're buried on that trail that you see me, like that trail going through the woods. I think they're buried in there. Not entirely sure, but I'm pretty sure that's where they're buried, somewhere in there. And then I forget where 2 other cats are buried. A lot of them don't have memorial. I have they're not marked. So we've got like pet cemetery going on over there, kind of, because like my grandparents have lived there since the 1970s. So yeah, they've had several pets. But yeah, we're trying to figure out where are we going to put Ranger, because Ranger is kind of the biggest dog we've ever had. Wait, we have another dog. We had a half collie, half Sheltie named Risa, and for the life of me, I cannot remember where we buried her. No idea. I have to ask my grand that later today, sometime this week. Anyhow, so we were trying to figure out where we were going to put Ranger, because Ranger is the heaviest dog we've ever had. At the vet said 82 pounds when she was doing the stuff, but the scale said like 97 or 92. Ranger was between 80 and the 80-90 range of, because she was kind of tubby. But we're trying to figure out, okay, where are we going to put a dog this big, and how are we going to bury her? And because we have Gizmo, and dogs like to dig things up. We want to be able to bury her deep enough so that Gizmo doesn't try to dig her up, or because dogs. And 2, where we live in North Carolina, it is really rocky. Even if you go try to plant flowers, even if you go and try to plant flowers or something, you will not get an inch into the dirt without hitting rocks. It is incredibly rocky here. So digging a hole big enough to fit an 80 to 90 some pound dog is not going to be an easy task. We would have to get out equipment to dig a hole deep enough to do it. So we're and trying to figure out where to put her, because I don't know about y'all, but if I were to I would want to put her somewhere she enjoyed being. But the places she enjoyed being were right by the door and where the concrete is. You can't really do that. Just trying to figure out where to put her, where it would, where she would be safe from being dug up, and wouldn't, you don't want to mess up the yard anyway, because you don't want to be mowing and then sink in, that would be really bad. Somewhere she would be undisturbed, but that we could actually dig into. And so we're trying to think about this, and while the vet tech or whoever was trying to enter in information before she had to have the shot, and she's like, well, are you going to have her cremated? And we're me and Grandma thinking well, we hadn't thought about having the dog cremated. So I'm Grandma's well, what do you think? I'm I'm okay. It'd be a lot easier. We were it'd be a lot easier than trying to find somewhere to put her. And Grandma's well, go ask Pop. So I had to run outside, ask him. He was he didn't know. He's well, whatever you want to do. So I had to run back inside. Anyhow, so we decided to have her cremated because it would be, easier to deal with, and we could. Ultimately, my main idea, was, well, if we do decide to bury her, we can still bury her, but it won't be as difficult, and because my grandparents are in their 70s, my pop just turned 78, and he doesn't need to be trying to dig a hole big enough to fit a 90-some pound dog. That you don't need to be doing, even with equipment, you don't need to be doing that. So yeah, this is the first pet we've ever had cremated. It just never occurred to us to actually do that before. We've had animals put down, but then we always brought them back to bury. But yeah, so we had our dog cremated. Apparently what they do is they send the company comes and picks the dog up, does whatever they do and brings it back. From what I've researched online, it's a company that's in this town. The vet is in, they're both in the same county, but the vet is in one town. The pet's crematorium, or whatever they are, is in my hometown. Some, I don't know where they're at, but they're somewhere here. I didn't even know they existed. So they're gonna she's gonna come back in a box with her name on it. I didn't see, I'm kind of wondering what it's gonna look like, because like I'm gonna know about the font. I'm like, because I would want the dates put on it. Like I would want it with dates, because we knew exactly when she was born and when we had to have her put down. Sorry. But like they didn't. It was just, we're too focused on her to think about details, so I don't know how that works, because I've never had this done before. And I'm wondering about things like font, and like what the box is going to look like, what kind of wood it's going to be made out of, and all these other things. And yeah, just, I don't know. Because I know there's like, I've been looking at different options as to what you can do with cremains. Is that the word? Cremain sounds weird to me, because we're not like a cremation type family, if that makes any sense. I'm not opposed to it. It's just, yeah. So I think tomorrow, since this video is already 20 minutes, I'm going to go into the different things you can do with cremains that I've discovered, and my thoughts and opinions on them. So, yeah.